Some men yell, some argue, some break things. And then there's the Sigma male. He lets you talk. While others scramble to defend themselves, he stands still. He watches. Not because he's weak, but because he's listening to you reveal everything he needs to know. See, people expose themselves when they're emotional. In the heat of an argument, masks fall off. The blame, the projection, the accusations they spill out raw. And the Sigma? He remembers every word, not out of spite, out of clarity. He doesn't fight to win arguments. He doesn't chase understanding. He doesn't crave closure. He plays the long game in silence, in solitude, in absolute self-respect. Because the moment he lets you speak, you show your hand, and what you say when you think you've got power, that's who you really are. You thought your words would spark a reaction. You expected anger, a counterattack, an apology. Instead, all you got was silence. Dead calm. The kind of stillness that makes you realize you went too far. He didn't interrupt. He didn't defend. He let you talk. And now you'll live with every word you thought he'd forget. And this is exactly what happens next. 1. He let you speak so you'd reveal the playbook. Every manipulator has patterns. Every liar has tells. And a Sigma doesn't need to pull the truth out of you. He just lets you spill it. He listens like a strategist, not a victim. While you're venting, he's decoding, connecting dots, tracking tactics. What hurts, what triggers, what you'll say when you're cornered, he studies it all. You thought you were lashing out, but all you did was hand him the playbook. And here's the real twist. He'll never bring it up again. You won't know when or how, but the next time he senses that same pattern, he's out, quietly, strategically, for good. Some people scream for attention, others go silent for evidence. 2. He listened long enough to know you can't be trusted. It wasn't just the volume of your words, it was the venom. The accusations that didn't match reality. The emotional bait disguised as concern. The convenient forgetfulness when your actions didn't line up with your stories. And he didn't stop you, he just absorbed it, because that was the data he needed. To you, it was an outburst. To him, it was a character report. You showed him what loyalty looks like when it's fake, how you move when you think he's vulnerable, what kind of chaos you're capable of creating when you believe he's too calm to challenge you. Sometimes you only find out who someone is when they think you're too weak to respond. 3. He let the room go quiet so your words could echo. After the storm, there was silence. Not because he had nothing to say, but because he knew the quiet would say more. You stood in the aftermath of your outburst, and for the first time, felt what it's like when your words don't land, when there's no pushback, when the person in front of you simply doesn't react. That silence? It's a mirror, and it doesn't break. It reflects everything you didn't want to face about yourself. Sigmas don't play the noise game. They weaponize stillness. Echoes only hurt when the words came from you. 4. He let you feel powerful, so he could walk away clean. You thought you were in control. You thought your rant made him small. But what you didn't realize is that he was documenting everything. Not for revenge, but for peace. He let you rise up, stand tall, throw everything you had. Because the more you said, the easier it became for him to exit without guilt. There's a calm that comes when you no longer doubt your decision to leave, and you gave him that gift. He didn't leave because of what you said. He left because you showed him it wasn't worth replying. 5. He let you burn the bridge and pretend you didn't. You tried to make it seem like you were just venting. I was emotional. I didn't mean it. But a Sigma doesn't buy the cleanup job. He sees through the PR spin. Because of the way you speak when you're angry, that's who you are underneath the script. He saw you cross the line, and instead of calling you out, he marked the exit. You'll act confused when he pulls away, but you wrote the script. He just chose not to stick around for the sequel. Words said in anger build permanent walls in quiet rooms. 6. He let you write the ending without realizing it. You didn't realize the story was ending. You were talking, venting, lashing out, and in the process, sealing the chapter shut. Sigma males don't need big breakups. They don't need long explanations. They let moments define transitions. And your outburst, that was the cue. When you realize what happened, it's too late. You'll want a redo, a final word, a real goodbye. But he's not coming back for revisions. He's already on the next page. Some stories end not with silence, but with someone who stopped rereading the same page. 7. He let you think you broke him while he rebuilt without you. You thought silence meant he was hurting, that he was reeling from your words, that the stillness was emotional paralysis. Wrong. He was rebuilding, quietly, deliberately. While you replayed the argument, he was rewriting his entire blueprint, sharpening the edges, reinforcing his values, setting new standards that would keep people like you permanently out. He wasn't licking wounds. He was reforging his armor, turning pain into precision. Every silence was a brick, every memory, mortar. You imagined him spiraling, but in truth, he was ascending. He found new purpose in your betrayal, not to destroy you, but to rise far enough that you'd never cast a shadow on his life again. By the time you realize he's not broken, he's better, stronger, unreachable. And you won't even be a footnote in his upgraded world. Your chapter ends where his real story begins. He didn't shatter. He evolved with a blueprint you'll never get to see because you're not welcome in the architecture. 8. He let you create the silence you now hate. You got your space, your silence, your distance, and now you feel the weight of it. Because his silence isn't passive, it's purposeful, it's final. You thought he'd reach out, that eventually he'd break. But Sigma males don't break. They vanish into peace. And when they leave, they don't announce it. They just never return. Now you sit in the quiet you asked for, haunted by the last words you said. Some silences aren't broken because they weren't born from peace, but precision. 9. He let the world see who you are without saying a word. No defense, no smear campaign, no drama. Just silence, the kind that echoes long after the storm, the kind that can't be misquoted or twisted. And as you spoke louder online, to friends, to anyone who'd listen, the contrast became crystal clear. You posted paragraphs, you crafted narratives. You tried to explain what happened through your version of events, but he didn't say a word. He didn't need to, because the absence of defense spoke louder than any counter-argument. He moved on with intention, quietly building, calmly glowing up, a man unmoved by noise, untouched by gossip. And the more you talked, the more it exposed not just your story, but your instability. His silence wasn't weakness, it was power dressed in discipline. While you unraveled oversharing, overreaching, overreacting, he ascended with a stillness that made everyone question your side before he ever had to speak. He doesn't win arguments, he ends them with dignity. The loudest ones reveal the most just, not what they intended. 10. He let you remember it so he didn't have to. He doesn't replay the moment. You do. You remember your words sharp, careless, calculated, and his silence, deafening in its restraint. You remember how he didn't even blink, didn't flinch, didn't shift his energy to match yours. That wasn't disinterest, that was emotional mastery. That memory, it's yours now, yours to relive at 2 a.m. in the stillness of a quiet room, long after the adrenaline wore off, and all that remains is the echo of your voice. You'll try to forget. You'll tell yourself it wasn't that serious. But your subconscious won't let it go, because it knows you crossed a line. And he didn't need to call you out for you to feel the sting of it. He let it go the moment he walked away. And not because he's forgetful, but because he chose peace over proving a point. You're stuck in the playback loop. He's living in a future where that moment never mattered. And when you wonder if he's thinking about it, the answer is simple. He's not, because he gave you that scene to live in and build himself a world where it never happened. He let the memory be yours so he didn't have to carry it. On a final note, he didn't fight, he didn't flinch, he didn't fold. He let you talk. And in doing so, you exposed everything he needed to hear. The blame, the betrayal, the projection, all wrapped in a monologue you thought was power. But power doesn't yell. It listens, it remembers, and it walks away with clarity. You thought silence meant weakness, but silence is what sealed your fate. Now you live with what you said. and he lives without you in peace. The most dangerous man is the one who doesn't flinch when the truth gets ugly.